when you start to disagree on the core values of you as a human being with people from the motherland, that's when you start to really feel how different you are. I just figured that out for myself right now by talking about it. That's what it comes down to. What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Min. Today we got a very cool video today. It's going to be about returning home to the motherland. As human beings, we are very migratory creatures. You know, we go different places for different reasons. And sometimes we just outright go out there and live all together. People go to different places, they have babies like me, and we grow up in completely different places than where our parents live, where our grandparents live, just generations and generations before us. It's just we grew up in a completely different environment. Today, I would like to make a video talking about what it is like for that person who grew up in a different place of their origin to return home to the motherland. Now, I will be talking about my experience as a Vietnamese American going to Vietnam, but that's not to say this is some kind of niche or isolated experience. This experience of returning home to the motherland after being raised in a different country can transcend different peoples, cultures, races. So that is why I would also love to hear from you how our experiences are similar and how they are unique from each other. So without any further ado, let's return to the motherland and let's talk about the pros and the cons of doing so. So the first great benefit is that you get to practice the motherland language. Chances are our language skills in our motherland tongue might not be that great. So that's why when you go back to your place of origin, you get so much practice with it. You are immersed in it. You're constantly reading street signs, you're constantly reading storefronts, constantly hearing the language all around you. Also, it's just a great feeling to be able to express yourself more in a different language, especially though with the motherland tongue. We grew up being able to express certain things. Like, I only talk Vietnamese with my mom, so I only use that kind of Vietnamese that you would with your mom. Oh, I'm hungry, going to school, I did my homework already. Don't hit me, just kidding. But when you go out to the motherland, you are more exposed to different ways of expressing yourself. Ways that you've never expressed yourself before. You can talk to people your age now. And when I came to Vietnam and I would use this language that you would use with my mom, on people my age, people just laughed at me, they looked at me funny. But you know, slowly you do start to pick it up, and it's almost natural too. It's not like we're some kind of newbie. The language skills that you do get when you're in the motherland and you bring it back home to the country where you were raised, you have so much more ability now to talk to your parents, your relatives. You're able to order food like a boss. More opportunities to get when you have these language skills. So the second great thing about returning to the motherland, we go back, we connect with the origin and the history of that land. The thing about being Vietnamese is that most of our overseas population left fairly recently. Our history and our connection to this land, the actual land of Vietnam, isn't so far removed from the overseas population. When I go back, I get to see these places of historical significance. This is the land where just generations and generations of my family have lived, and all the history on this land has affected them more than whatever went down in the US. If this broad general history isn't that relevant to you, there is still your family's history. If your family has fairly recently moved to a different country, well, there's still like your own parents, your own grandparents' experience in this land, where they went to school, where they had their first kiss, where they ran away from home. You really get to see for yourself little landmarks of your family's history and their own experiences on this land. All right, and then number 3 of the great benefits of being in your motherland is the fact that you will be able to understand this place and connect with it more than what your average tourist could. Because this is assuming that you have some basic skills with the language and some understanding of the culture because you grew up with your family who practice that. But when you go back, you're able to connect with more people. You're able to talk to more people. You're able to understand their cultural values. And that allows you to blend in, to talk with more people on a deeper level and understand it in different ways, in a deeper way than what the average tourist could. This is your place of origin. Your family is from here. Whether it's from this generation or past generations, you have a right to this land, that you are a person of your motherland. Just because you are raised in a different country does not make you any less of this motherland identity. I grew up in the US. One of the things I always felt insecure about was the fact that because I didn't grow up in Vietnam, because I didn't have to grow up through the struggles of living in Vietnam, I didn't have a right to claim to be Vietnamese, 100% Vietnamese. But after I realized that, just because my experiences are different than the people who lived here, just because they're different, doesn't make me any less Vietnamese. It's different, but I still claim to be 100% Vietnamese. But I also add American on it too. Alright, so now for this cons section, I'm only gonna mention one because I feel like a lot of the cons of returning to your motherland is derivative of this one thing. And the one thing is the difference in cultures and values we face when we return to the motherland. Because when we go back, we have this expectation that we'll blend right in, that we'll just fit in seamlessly because we're returning to the land of our people. But Min, you just said, won't we understand the country more deeply than what the average tourist could? And that is true. You would be more than your average tourist. That deeper connection has a limit. You soon come to realize how different the people are from you. And you start to talk to people, you soon realize that the environment that you grew up in has a huge role in the way your beliefs. You have that expectation of going in, wanting to be accepted here, but you actually feel really different from everyone around you. Even though I look a lot more like people in Vietnam than some of the people in America, but I soon realized that I get along better there. See some of the things that really are important to you, like your morals, how you feel about race, how you feel about gender norms. When you come to your motherland, you realize that these are things you can't compromise on. When you start to disagree on the core values of you as a human being with people from the motherland, that's when you start to really feel how different you are. I just figured that out for myself right now by talking about it. That's what it comes down to. When you disagree on gender norms, on race, on how you show respect, on how you show love, on how you interact with your friends, with your family, even if you look exactly like the people from here, you realize how different you really are. And that is all my pros and cons of returning home to the motherland. There's definitely many more, but those are kind of the main ones that I always felt really strongly about, focused on. I'd love to hear more if you were raised in a different place other than your place of origin. There's also major differences among the overseas Vietnamese population as well. And so I'd love to hear from y'all. But yeah, go ahead and let me know in a comment. We'll be moving to Saigon soon. So we'll be having videos from out there now. But until then, thanks for watching the video. I'm the Shining Yellow Boy. I'll see you all next time.